Representative Sampson of the 80th, sir. You have the floor.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of the amendment before us also, and I don't want to tread too far over ground that's already been covered, but I just want to reiterate the necessity of the amendment before us. I think that some people may be under the impression that because this issue affects the Second Amendment in some way, that is raising concerns over those specific issues. And while that's true, and I'm sure no one's surprised to see me standing before you speaking in favor of this amendment, as I'm known as a strong supporter of the Second Amendment as well, the reason why I'm here is for other reasons. It is because I believe that supporting this amendment is key to preventing further implications and problems for the state of Connecticut going forward. And I would encourage those listening to me to give strong consideration to whether or not this is the right choice for Connecticut, and not whether or not this amendment is here for any other reason but that. It's been brought to our attention that sweeping the funds from those two accounts, the pistol permit account and also the ammunition certificate account, could run us afoul of the law. There is case law and precedent that was mentioned by the proponent of the amendment. I've got it here before me. It's in a case called Kwong versus Bloomberg. It's very, very simply stated. It says, the Supreme Court has held that governmental entities may impose licensing fees related to the exercise of constitutional rights when the fees are designed to, and this is the important part, to meet the expense incident to the administration of the licensing statute and to the maintenance of public order in the matter licensed. I think you can read that to say that no money can be used for any other purpose in that case or context. And by virtue of us sweeping that account, taking that money from what its intended use is, and I believe those accounts were set up that way on purpose and for that reason, we are doing exactly the opposite of what this law says. We would be using that money as revenue for the state of Connecticut. And I just think it makes common sense, whether you're concerned about the Second Amendment or not. This particular sweep can get us in trouble. The sweep of the film tax credit account will not. I understand that we're in this position of debating the deficit mitigation plan and the proposed sweeps, and it's become somewhat controversial because of the time frame. There's only 30 days to go in the fiscal year, and therefore there are very few places to take this money from to make up the deficit. I get all that. But in the process of doing so, I would urge caution and careful consideration that we're not going to create a further burden on the taxpayers of this state by inviting a lawsuit, which I think will happen unless this amendment passes. So please, my colleagues, think ahead. I think this is a very, very good amendment. I understand the concern with adopting it here in the House and that causing the bill to have to go back upstairs to the Senate to be voted on again. But it's the right thing to do. We can certainly accomplish it, and I think it's the right move for our state and the taxpayers going forward. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.